So let's jump into a Transformers Finance Friday segment. No, that's not a thing. Transformer Finance segments are a thing, but it's Friday, so I figured why not? Transformer Finance Friday. Probably will end up on a Monday for all we know. Anyways, point being is these segments, these Transformer Finance segments that I do for the podcast are essentially to talk about certain figures as they age and their ups and downs of their value in the secondary market, and sometimes stuff that we might have sitting in our closet that we might not need anymore and could potentially cash in. Or on the flip side, something that you might have been speculating on that ultimately in the end is starting to drop in value, and you better unload it now because it might get worse. So we got 2 items here today. We're targeting stuff again. I always like to put a good year and a half between these segments of each toy that we talk about. I don't like to talk about stuff that's only maybe 6 months old or just come out. The conversation that we're going to have about Tigatron, whenever that is, from Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom, will come. Just give it another 6 months to a year, and I guarantee we'll finally get the true numbers on that one. But today we're going to talk about 2 infamous 2020 products that had 2 very different kinds of ups and downs. One going way up, and one of them going way up and then crashing and burning. And it'll be a little bit of a learning curve for people when they come to speculating on certain items and stuff. And not that I say one should hoard Transformer product and speculate over it. I mean, there's better ways to invest your money. But it is always funny and interesting to take a look at what's going on and what toys go up in value and hold that value in the long term, and what, kind of spikes a little bit and then crashes. So the first one we're going to talk about 2 today. The first one we're going to talk about is the infamous Transformers Netflix edition, Walmart exclusive War for Cybertron Voyager class Soundwave. This is a figure that a lot of people want. It's a figure that, in my opinion, if you don't have the Masterpiece version, this is about as good as it's going to get for the time being in terms of retail. And it's a fantastic figure. Absolutely fantastic and an amazing pickup, independent of its value and everything. Again, shout out to Brogan Brainstorm, who hooked me up with mine. Very great figure. It came out, essentially it dropped October 2020 when the world was still going, uh-oh, I don't know what's going on here. Is it the end of the world? And part of the wave 2 of the Netflix Walmart exclusive wave, the Earthrise wave, as we call it, for wave 2, because each wave came out during either Siege, Earthrise, or Kingdom. So this was the Earthrise wave that came in the middle of it. And the MSRP was $39.99, exclusive to Walmart, like I said before. Very popular, but now the market is absolutely insane on this. I mean, it wasn't a difficult thing to find. It was just that more so people weren't buying stuff, and they were kind of worried about what was going on in the world, and some people didn't have money. And then this kind of figure came and went, hit the shelves, and that was that. And original MSRP $39.99. Now the secondary market, we're having sold listings now just this month alone. It's getting nuts. It's getting I'm seeing bidding wars going to $150, $140, easily almost quadrupling its value. Mint in box we're talking about here, not loose complete, although loose complete also has very similar kind of numbers too, oddly enough. Again, it's a really good figure. A very well sculpted retool of the Siege version that just gives people everything they wanted from a retail Soundwave after so many, actually we could say hits and misses throughout the years, whether it be those leader classes that we got through Power of the Primes or even the Titanium 6-inch back then. We finally got that definitive, retail Soundwave for your classics display. So it's no surprise how much it's going for now, because it really had that one opportunity to come out just in that one specific Walmart exclusive kind of situation, combined with the fact that it happened in 2020, which was Nightmareville. So many different things going on that makes it difficult. And today it's going for stupid numbers. And the sad thing about it is, if we kind of look at the listing leaks that we have from various retailers, whether it be Walmart or Target or even that of GameStop, it doesn't look like Hasbro has any intent of reissuing this anytime soon or doing something with the mold again, maybe even a slightly different color scheme just to put it out there again for people to buy. So it's kind of sad. And that's in this foreseeable future, at least 2022 and 2023. Who knows? Maybe they'll pick up this mold and they'll do something else with it, slightly different color scheme, but more or less invoking that of the G1 Soundwave colors and get people another opportunity to pick this up, because it's a fantastic mold. And I think another reason why the numbers have really started to peak as of this month and why I wanted to do this segment is because we're almost near April. We already have Kingdom Blaster that's been out there, but then we're going to have Blaster also in Transformers Legacy in retail. So anyone that's picking up that definitive retail Blaster figure is going to want to have its rival to fight him, and that is Soundwave. So I think that that's what's also kind of pushing up the numbers right now. The numbers were already high on this because it was a fantastic figure and very difficult to get in the secondary market, but now even more so because we have Legacy around the corner, and you always want to pair up your little displays of characters. So a brutal one, a tough one. I wish people luck if they could find it cheap. But if you have one, especially one mint in box, and you're not feeling it, now's a good time to cash out. You could really definitely, again, quadruple your money easily with how things are going as of this recording. Now, the other one I want to talk about is a classic example of something comes out, it spikes in value heavily, and then just crashes afterwards due to lack of interest. And it's a Cyberverse product, Transformers Cyberverse product. And we're talking about Deluxe class, Transformers Cyberverse Deluxe class, Thunderhowl. Now, there's a lot of things going on with this figure that leads to all its kind of weird things. Again, keep in mind, like, its original MSRP in general, like the actual numbers that we have, because it was all over the place around that time, but we'll settle on $25.99 was its original MSRP at Walmart and Target. And this was a figure that came out right in the middle of the big V. It was like February 2020, March 2020, it started showing up, and then the big V came and everyone thought the world was going to end. And the last thing a lot of people were thinking about was buying Transformer product. And this guy came out, and then you combine with the fact that he was Wave 4 standalone in this multiple wave Build-A-Figure concept, and he was a key Build-A-Figure figure that came with the head of the Build-A-Figure, meaning, McAdams, to get the final piece. So that also kind of made it a little difficult for him to get. He was a later wave. He was standalone. And then it creates that need to get him, even if you're not interested in the figure itself. And I honestly believe, and I'll tell you why afterwards, but I honestly believe that it's not even about Thunderhowl. It's about completing McAdams. I think that that's what it is more than anything else. Because when you look at the waves that came afterwards, Prowl, Soundwave, and Starscream, they've been reissued, and the market value for them has more or less stayed the same. Where this guy, he's been reissued also, because there's a 2020 version, the Cyberverse version with the McAdams head, and then there's a 2021 version for the Dinobots Unite packaging, I guess we'll call it, and it doesn't come with the Build-A-Figure parts, and nobody cared. So at one point, at the beginning of this year, like December 2021 going into January 2022, this guy, this Build-A-Figure version specifically, the one that came with the McAdams head, was going between sometimes $70 to $90 on the secondary market. It was crazy what was going on. And again, probably because of that Build-A-Figure. That was probably the big thing more than anything else that kind of pushed up that value. Because I'll be honest with you, that's not even the best Thunderhowl figure. If you want like the best version of Thunderhowl, I think that the Voyager, not the, what is it called? They call it the Ultra class, they call it, with the Energon armor. I think that's what they refer to it as, the Voyager, if you will. But the Ultra class Energon armor Thunderhowl, I think, is way more show accurate and the better version of that character, as opposed to even the Deluxe class one. But that Deluxe class one has the head of McAdams, and that makes all the difference. And you combine with the fact that when you look at the secondary market, there's a lot of people that are selling Thunderhowls without the McAdams head or mint in box 2021 versions from Dinobots Unite, and nobody cared. The interesting thing is that then you fast forward to today, and Cyberverse is no longer a thing. TV series is over. We have Earthspark coming around the corner. We have BotBots coming around the corner. We have Rise of the Beasts movie next year. And it looks like already the Cyberverse interest has diminished. And now those sales of like selling for $90, selling for $50, $60, it has dropped significantly to like $30. Like there was this huge spike where everyone wanted to get this figure, and then all of a sudden everyone changed their mind. They're like, you know what, we don't care anymore. And I think that the only thing where you could see any kind of long-term value with this, especially if you keep it mint and package, is that McAdams head. If Hasbro has no intent of doing anything with that specific original 13 character in the long run, then yeah, the value of this Thunderhowl figure will creep back up again. But it's all resting on that. So that's another interesting one where it's like it went from MSRP, nobody really cared, it was right in the middle of the big V, and then all of a sudden it spiked for like a good 7 months where it was a $70, $80, $90 figure. And now it's dropped back, and there's, buy it now listings for as low as $30 even. So that's another interesting one where that's really just a kind of a demand one. But again, I still feel that if Hasbro does nothing with McAdams, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of value just put on that stupid little piece of plastic included with Thunderhowl in McAdams' head included. It's kind of like how Transmutate, the only other major Build-A-Figure with Transformers, had a huge value for a very long time because there just was nothing of that character that represented that design. Then, of course, we had third-party companies and the mild attempt that was done through Kingdom, and I think people kind of were just willing to settle for those. Obviously, the Build-A-Figure 10th anniversary Transmutate still holds a pretty decent value, but not the crazy $200, $300 that I used to see back in BotCon 2000. I think it was BotCon 2015 or 16. Someone had 2 of them, and they were both gone by the end of that week, and they were asking, I think, like $150 or $200 each. It was crazy numbers. But that's when people think that there's nothing to come afterwards. Oh, that's it. We're getting that Transmutate and never anything else. And, well, third party and, of course, official product took care of that ultimately in the end. And not that I'm saying third party steers the ship, but it does sometimes. It does, depending on certain wallets, especially when you're talking 3-digit purchases. So those are 2 that I want to talk about. Again, one that's a prime example of the ups and downs, and another one that's just keeps on rising. We'll see what happens with that Soundwave. But again, this has been a Transformers finance segment, and hope you learned something. And again, our hobby is all over the place when it comes to money. So you got to be careful with that sometimes. And sometimes you could put your money in one place and invest, and sometimes you won't. And again, I still have confidence in Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Tigatron. I just feel that that's going to be a figure that's going to age very well in terms of finance in the long term. But that'll be seen when that day comes